Well, as our city begins to reopen over the next several weeks, we're going to go right to the source. A lot of you have had questions. There's been some confusion. And for those of us that maybe have a short attention span, it's good to have some cliff notes. So joining me is Murfreesboro Mayor Shane McFarland. Shane, thank you for doing this today.
My pleasure. Great to see you virtually.
Yeah, you too. Is this the first Zoom call you've ever had?
No, actually, yeah, no, it seems like everything's been Zoom, and we have a city council meeting tonight that we'll do by Zoom, and actually did a WKRN Channel 2 interview yesterday, and it was totally by Zoom.
Oh, wow. And you are at City Hall right now, correct?
No, I'm at my other
Or
office.
at your other office, but not at home.
No, not at
So
home.
So you're not like me. I was worried just a few minutes ago the landscapers were here, and I thought we'd hear lawnmowers in the background.
Yeah, city council meeting week before last, I luckily it was on mute, but I had both of the boys were yelling at each other as they were going up the stairs. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I just told the boys, I'm about to be on with the mayor. Get in your rooms. Well, let's get right to it. So will you give me just some snapshots or cliff notes of what we can expect to happen over the next few weeks?
We put out our reopening plan earlier this week, but really, and I was talking to a constituent today, just giving a small civics lesson that, the state is over the cities. And so as executive orders are pushed down by the governor, we interpret those, and then, it's our responsibility to be able to enact and enforce those. So, as we see, for instance, day before yesterday, the governor had announced that salons and close personal, I think is how he worded it, touch type businesses were not going to be open until the 29th. And then that changed. And so those are now opening on May the 6th. So, really it's ever evolving. And I think any elected official you'll talk to, it changes on a daily basis. We had dentists yesterday who were expecting to be open today, and then guidance came down yesterday afternoon from the state that dentists are not ready to be open yet, and they're still working on their guidelines. So naturally, there were a lot of unhappy dentists in Murfreesboro yesterday, and so I mean, the short answer is, we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that Murfreesboro can open and people can be safe, and that we can be measured on how we do that. But we're really learning day by day on exactly what that entails. Now, as a city, we put together an opening plan. So, like knowing how organized you are, people want to be prepared, and we put something out so people could at least be prepared on what we feel like we're expecting from the state. But as we get that guidance, we'll go from there.
And I guess part of it has some of it almost been kind of an honor system of who's going to stay open, who's going to stay closed. I know my brother-in-law is a dentist in Chattanooga, and there's been a fine line between who he can come in for emergency services or who's coming in for routine type things. So he's been very by the book. But have you found that with a lot of businesses that it almost comes back to good old honor system?
It is, but I also have found that within different industries, self-policing is at an all-time high, because if you've got, say, XYZ salon that's closed, and if they're doing the right thing and they know some of their competitors are not doing that, then there's been a lot of people who've notified us to say, hey, this person's not closed. And so there's been some self-policing that has gone on, but I would say that's probably the smaller number, because most people have done the right thing.
So there have been some citizens arrests.
Yeah, Barney Fire,
right? Let's talk about, so right now, what's the status with the city parks, greenways, that kind of thing? Clear that up.
Yeah, if you go to murfreesborotn.gov and click on coronavirus, you'll see our reopening plan. But we broke down the Parks and Recreation system into 3 phases: a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, that showed here are the things in phase 1 that are open. When we get to the phase 2 level, which we're still waiting for a lot of that to come from the federal government, showing us exactly and defining what phase 2 is. But right now, most all outdoor things are still open. The Greenway has never shut down. That's stayed open. But volleyball courts, playgrounds, all of those things inside the city have all been closed. And right now, we'll still be keeping that phasing in place to where really it's going to be anything outdoor that people can socially gather and not congregate. Those are going to stay open. And then gyms were in the executive order day before yesterday to be able to open on Friday, so May the 1st. And we're in turn figuring out how we responsibly do that as a city as well. The issue that we have that a lot of the gyms don't have, because school is not in session and school is not going to open up, a lot of our recreation facilities like SportsCom, Patterson Park, we have a lot of kids who come to those facilities, during the day. So we're trying to figure out how we do that at a 50% guidance, 50% capacity, and that you make sure that we social distance. So we're still working on that as in our facilities, but you'll start seeing, I hope, some of the fields and those things open up in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. What about, I opened it up to some questions, and we had Julie Young had asked about what you see churches looking like as far as those gradually reopening. What's your best guess on how that's going to work?
Churches by the state executive order never were made to close. So even right now, the executive order 30 that came out on Tuesday, or it's Monday, basically said that churches are still considered essential, but they're strongly encouraging churches to continue doing virtual congregations. They're not really wanting anyone to get with groups over 10. So I think what you're going to see in the weeks to come, I think there are a lot of people who are really wanting to get back to church. I think you're going to start seeing churches come out with guidance on how they're going to be able to social distance. For example, the church that I go to has 4 sanctuaries. So you may see where, churches will stagger apart. And then in some of the smaller churches, you could be able to social distance as you go into the congregation, or keep those at a 50% capacity. But the churches have never, the churches that are closed right now, which are most all of them, have done that on their own because they knew that was sort of the right thing to be able to do. No one wanted to cause an issue with their congregation. And I mean, it's been pretty cool that, Saturdays and Sundays, it's like, there's church services going on all the time. We watch 2 churches, and we'll watch one on Saturday night. We'll watch one on Sunday. So it's been pretty amazing to see how people sort of have adapted to be able to do different things.
My in-laws in Bristol, Tennessee, they sent us a picture of their church. The pastor stood up on the roof of the church building, and everybody could tune it in on their radios.
That's
but
awesome.
That was the highest place that he could get. So he did the whole sermon walking back and forth on the roof. It's a pretty cool idea. And then they had the big construction equipment where they raised the band up into like the telephone poles. So people are getting pretty creative.
All right, literally getting higher to heaven.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Both of our families are self-employed. Both of our wives are self-employed. You and I are self-employed. There are a lot of folks that are hurting right now that are naturally scared. What would you say to those businesses right now that are nervous, as a word of encouragement? What would you say to them?
Well, I think, the number one thing is that we're going to get through it. I was having this conversation, and I probably have gotten a little salty over the last week just because, we're getting bombarded with things, and you want to be able to try to make the best decisions that you can. But I had a lady here about an hour ago who, was sent a pretty, I don't want to say nasty, but pretty blunt email about how that, me allowing salons to open up is going to cause people to die. And, naturally you don't want to hear anyone say that, but what I would say to business owners is, and this is what I truly feel, I think business owners obviously are all worried about their health. They're worried about their customers' health, but they're also worried about losing everything that they've worked their careers for, going down the drain because they can't get back to work. So, I think what's going to happen, I think as we're at 400 and some odd positive tests in Rutherford County, and I was reading articles today that there's more things that are coming out on different drugs that may work, antibody testing that's coming out. So I think, what I would tell the business owners are to continue to hang in there, use the guidance that is being put out to, use PPE, sanitize, all those things, because, I said this in one of my briefings, I think it was last week, that, what I would say to, XYZ business owner is, this is your time to show why your business is better, and that you can use this as the opportunity to be able to show, hey, I'm going to protect my customers. And that means providing clean workspaces, providing a clean environment. And so that I would tell the business owners to take that seriously. But I do think that the economy, as we get going through, you can see I haven't had my hair cut in a long time now. We're going to get through this. And I'll tell you what I told the lady who was the salon owner, that was, upset that salons are opening back. And what I told her is, I'm like, ma'am, no one's making you open up. This is not a mandate on May the 6th that since all salons are opening up, if you don't want to open up, don't open up. You can stay in your house and not open up, and so that we all have choices. But ultimately, I think with our business owners, a lot of this comes down to personal responsibility. And that's really where we've been almost for the last 10 or 12 weeks, that a lot of this has to be, as a resident, making smart choices and doing the right thing.
Okay, let's talk about now. I got to ask you a personal question.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite activity at home during this?
What can I say? Two
You can say two.
We're outdoor. We love being outdoors, and I think, if you ask Ashley, she'll tell you that, even when it's cold outside, I build a fire every night. And so I've really enjoyed all of us sitting on our back patio every night. We build a fire, and then we've got a gas heater that we all sit out there. So that's been really good. And then my second, probably, I don't want to say it's just as fun, but throughout this whole thing, we have a basketball court in our backyard.
Yeah.
20 by 20 concrete, area. And so my brother, their family, so my brother and his niece, or his daughter, and my nephew, they come over about 4:00 every afternoon. And so I try to be home at 4:00, and we've had some great basketball games. I mean, my sons have, seeing how much better they've gotten over this, quarantine, we've played some serious games of basketball. Now, I will say this, Eli will die. I hope this goes out to the entire Murfreesboro. My 16-year-old, I have twin 16-year-olds, and Eli was getting a little froggy the other night. So I said, hey, I'll play you. Let's play. And we played to 20, and I had him 18-0.
Nice.
He came back a little bit, and I won 20-6. So
nice. Okay.
Sure put that out there for all of Murfreesboro.
Yeah, very, very nice. So would it be safe to say sometimes Ashley has said, feel free to go to your office, feel free to work at work?
No, she has been an absolute champ, because she's been shut down since, I think, March 17th.
Yeah.
I think
been
shut down. And there's been times that I wish I could stay at home, but she literally has been home since March 17th. But in my role as mayor, I haven't had the opportunity to really stay at home. So I mean, things haven't changed that much for me over the last 10 or 12 weeks. I mean, I've been at home. So yeah, haven't been at home. So I think she's probably the exact opposite, that she would you please come home so I can leave. So
she probably wants to come hang out up there for a little bit.
That's right.
Have a little quiet time. She can just meet you in the parking lot. Y'all switch cars. You take the kids back home. She could hang out there.
That's exactly right.
Well, you're always the best at being accessible, keeping folks informed. I appreciate all the updates you've done where you've allowed people to just text in live and ask questions. And I think you've done a fantastic job of making a difficult situation. I saw a thing that the other day about a leader just sees things the way they are and tells things the way they are. Not better, not worse, just what they know. And you've done a fantastic job of doing that.
Well, thank you, Justin. I mean, no one really. I don't say that you can prepare for a lot of things, but you can't prepare for your city being shut down for 10 or 12 weeks and all the things that come with it. So, um, I mean, I truly feel probably like you being a small business owner and me when these people are upset and they call you or they email you or they send you messages on Facebook. I mean, I'm compassionate to what they're going through because we've all been there. So I think that's something that is probably a little different than in local politics than maybe state. And the governor. I mean, I read every email. I try to return every phone call. And
Mhm.
the thing I would say during these times, we're all in this together, and got here together, and we're going to get out of it together. And that's what we're going to have to do. I mean, it does no good pointing fingers on why this happened or how this happened. We just need to get out of it, and there'll be time for reflection when we get done to see what we could have done better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got to
But
ask you, what's been your favorite thing to do during the quarantine?
well, we have also played a lot of basketball. We have had a lot of those freezer pops. So we've
Yeah,
done a lot of that. We've done a lot of tag. Um, this looks all nice right here. I've got all my lighting, but if I were to spin it around, the house has been kind of a makeshift office, TV studio, craft area, book reading area. So, the house is kind of in shambles, but, we've had a really good time.
what's been your go-to food?
Oh, we have had a lot. I learned to cook on an iron skillet. So we have made a lot of chicken on there. I've learned how to make almost every kind of every kind of meal on a large iron skillet. So that's
Yeah,
been our fun.
that's awesome.
So, well, I think I speak on behalf of the whole city where I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for your friendship. And I look forward to uh, seeing you out at dinner soon or hanging out soon. So, again, thanks, Shane, for this time.
Anytime, brother. Thanks for what you're doing.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, bro. See you.